This is my 21-inch iMac. I purchased it in June of this year, made a very quick video unboxing and talking a little bit about it, and I haven't really said much about it since. Since that time, it has become my daily driver desktop machine. It's the machine that I go to anytime I want to edit a video, unless I'm on the go. But as a lot of the comments pointed out in that initial unboxing video, I cheaped out. I bought the smallest and one of the lowest end iMacs that you can buy, and unfortunately that has come back to bite me. Meaning whenever I go to make a video, I can do 1080p 60 and it works pretty well. If I try to do anything 4K, it doesn't work out particularly well. And because I only purchased 8 gigs of RAM in the machine, multitasking is a bit of a pain. Meaning if I have Chrome and Firefox and Final Cut open, eventually it's all going to stop working appropriately and I'm going to have to start killing things. So just as a bit of a follow-up, yes, this is a great machine. It has gotten the job done for me for the most part, but it is still very limited, and I kind of wish that I'd made better choices when I purchased it. Which does lead us to where we are today. Here we have the 2017 27-inch iMac with the 4.2 GHz Core i7 processor, 512GB SSD because the 1TB non-SSD that I had in my 21-inch machine was just not very good. It has the Radeon 580 graphics card with 8 gigs of video RAM, and I did actually buy the machine with 8 GB of RAM installed, but that's because Apple wanted an obscene amount of money to upgrade the RAM, and I read that it's actually pretty easy to purchase a 32GB kit of RAM and upgrade it after the fact yourself. So I can add this to that machine and have 40 GB of RAM with a 4.2 GHz i7 processor and a very respectable graphics card, completely ready for 4K and VR and 360 video and everything else I want to throw at it moving forward. So I'm going to take a minute, I'm going to unbox this, I'm going to set it up, and I'll probably be editing this video on that machine. So let's open the box. Of course, it comes with the keyboard and Magic Mouse, although I recently purchased the Magic Trackpad 2, and I've definitely been preferring that, so I'll probably continue to use this. Here is the power cable, the one cable that you actually have to hook up to the machine. And then, magically enough, the 27-inch iMac itself. So we'll take the wrapper off. Also the plastic here in the back. And there it is. I may have to make additional room on my desk over there. I'm going to go ahead and leave this plastic on here for just a moment, because I think what I'm going to do is lay this down on the couch, open the back up, and install the RAM. And as you can probably see, you have to actually take the plastic off here before you can get to this slot. This is where the RAM is actually going to be installed. So we'll just open that up. And then I think you can see it. There's a little button right here, which we'll probably have to open with a flathead screwdriver. Push, and this little slot opens. Then there's two little levers right here. You just pull them outward, and the entire cage lifts up. Lifts up just enough for you to be able to pull the RAM sticks out. But as I said, I'm going to leave the RAM in there. I'm just going to move it to the other slots. So there we go, the included RAM, I just moved it over to slots 2 and 4. Now we can add the 32GB kit. And you can't just buy any kit for this, it has to be very specific. DDR4 2400 SODIMM. I'll put a link to this very specific kit. It was like $330, but again, I think Apple wanted to charge over $600 to put 32 gigs in, and you would only have 32. This way I'm going to have 40. So then we take these two brand new sticks of RAM and just slide them into the slots. There's only one way they'll fit in appropriately because of this slot in the middle. It's offset just a little bit, and there you have it. All 4 sticks are now seated. Push this back down till it clicks. Put the RAM door back in place. That actually went on pretty easily. And while we're back here, let's just take a quick look at the setup. We have our headphone jack, SD card slot, 4 traditional USB ports, 2 USB-C ports, Thunderbolt 3, USB 3.1, newest, fastest ports you can get, and then your 1 gigabit Ethernet. Unfortunately, not the 10 gigabit you'd get in the Mac Pro, but I could not justify the price difference because the cheapest Mac Pro you can get is $5,000. This was about $2,500 or $2,600. So this is significantly more expensive than the 21-inch that I looked at previously, but also significantly more powerful. And now it's time to move things around over on the main desk, put this thing into place, and get everything hooked up and working, hopefully. There we go. It's a little bright, but we're now at the startup menu. We're ready to go through setup. Now again, you're probably not going to be able to see this, but an interesting option did come up, so I thought I would share it with you. And I'm fairly certain I've seen this before, but it says transfer information to this Mac, and it gave me the option to search my network for any other Mac or Time Machine backup or something. Well, I just happen to have the Mac that I've been using sitting right next to it, so I'm going to see what I can do to transfer from there to here. I've been doing it all manually up to this point. I used an external hard drive to back everything up, and I was just going to copy it over. But if this can do it automatically for me, so much the better. Okay, much better. Completely forgot for some reason you have to actually open the migration assistant on the old Mac. So now it's saying transfer from Mac to Mac, and it's gonna have to run updates to do it, so we'll let it do its updates now. All right, updates complete. Now it's asking me to check the passcodes and make sure they match. They do. Looking for apps and documents over on the left machine, and I'm just gonna go ahead and let all this finish. I'm sure there's gonna be more to it, but I probably showed all of this whenever I set up this machine initially, and I had 300 gigs of files or so, and it's gonna just transfer all of those over peer-to-peer Wi-Fi, so it's looking like it's gonna be 2 hours or so. So I'll be back. And a few hours later, the migration has been completed. And we're ready to sign in. I'll be kind of curious to see if it transferred over my Apple Watch sign-in credential. And just very first impression after this coming up, this is a very, very big screen. For some reason, it didn't automatically connect to my Wi-Fi, but we're up. But it seems like it transferred over all of my apps, as well as all of the video files I still haven't copied off to my long-term storage yet. So I guess the next best thing to do is, go through and compare the screens, the audio output, and then the biggest thing for me, as far as I'm concerned, is just how much faster it's going to be able to render video. All right, so I've pulled up my most recent video here, just looking at it on the two screens. They look very similar, as you would expect. The colors are very similar between the two. And this person had owned the RX0, and I'll show this. And okay, yes, the speakers on the 27-inch are significantly louder at the top end. Yeah, it's just going back and forth between, and that's a great face to pause on, I gotta say. The audio from the 27-inch appears to be significantly louder. The audio from the 21-inch seems to have just a slight bit more bass. Maybe they're tuned slightly differently. Could just be the positioning in the room. They're both good though. Now let me pull up Final Cut. I'll try to render a project and just see how fast it is on both. Okay, I've got identical projects pulled up on both machines. The same apps and everything are running on both machines. It's a 15-minute 1080p 60 clip, and so I'm gonna go ahead and hit start. And I'll also start a stopwatch here on my watch, and we'll just see how long these take. So there we go. Well, we are approaching 1 minute, and there's definitely a difference, but it's not quite as drastic a difference as I thought there would be. 1 minute, we just hit 20% on the new computer, and we were at 13% on the older one. And this is not a scientific test or anything. This is just everyday usage for me. The biggest thing, though, is being able to take a project like this and render it in the space of a couple of minutes for a 15-minute video, where most other machines I've used up to this point will take 1-to-1, like 15 minutes to do a 15-minute project, 1080p 60 like this. And we just hit 2 minutes. We're at 40%, and this was 26, 27, yeah, 27. So it is staying pretty linear. So it's about 20% per minute here and about 13% per minute on the 21-inch. So it looks like this is going to be about 5 minutes to do a 15-minute clip, and probably 7 to 7.5 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. My math is not good. Coming up on 3 minutes. This one is about to hit 60%. That one just hit 42%. So realistically, it looks like for the renders that I'm doing, this newer machine is going to cut off a couple of minutes per render. And keep in mind, all this data was just copied over from machine 1 to machine 2. And there we go, just before we hit 5 minutes, this one finished. We are at it was below 70% here, so 69% on the older computer. So that's showing about a 33% speed difference. Again, completely unscientific here. And I was actually a little bit off before. This is not a 15-minute clip. It's 15 minutes, 49 seconds. So it's almost 16 minutes. To be able to do that in just under 5 minutes on the new machine, I'm very pleased with that. And as we wait for the older machine to finish all of this, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Definitely looking forward to spending a lot more time using this 27-inch as my daily driver machine. Do not fret about the 21-inch. My wife has been using a very dated Windows machine for a long time, and I think it's time for her to upgrade. She does a lot of accounting and stuff for my business, so kind of another early Christmas present to her, if you will. It looks like this is getting ready to finish up here, and we actually just hit 7 minutes, a little over 7 minutes, and it's stuck at the 95% before the video actually opens. So about 5 minutes, about 7 minutes. So actually not quite the huge difference that I would have expected for the price difference, but I think the experience is going to be a lot better on the 27 for me. Let me know what you think. If you're interested in picking one of these up for yourself, of course, I'll have links down in the video description. I'm always appreciative of people that use my affiliate links to buy these things because they do help the channel a lot. There we go, it's finished. So that's where I'm going to wrap things up for today. Again, leave any thoughts you might have about this down in the comment section. I'm always there listening and talking and reading. Hit that like button down below the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new videos come out, and I will see you again next time.